Ah, but dark triumphs are finally afoot. Now, I have been looking through the library, and we have managed to obtain some bloodstone by way of Inquisition, which we have recently, well, we've begun liberating. There are some red Templars there causing a muck indeed, but nonetheless we have managed to obtain some resources from them. And chief among those resources is additional supplies of bloodstone, which is growing near the different pieces of lyrium that pervades the area. Ah, excellent, excellent. Thank you, Cullen. Good work.
It's a bit cold in here, don't you think? We are in the mountains.
I'm more concerned about everything scattering whenever there's a draft.
Well, that's why we have all these fanciful metal paperweights. Now, with that bloodstone supply, I only need a few relinquished skulls. Hello, Josephine. And some writing. Now, there was some books I was rather enjoying the look of. I swear this room looks better every time I come into it. Very nice. Enjoying the looks of through here, and this is still looking increasingly curious, which we should be able to find nearby. I know Dorian was reading about this, but I believe at once I managed to locate it. There we are. From mortalitasi, for the living, the dead. The words of speaker via Synaxis make one passage stand out. Breath ceased on the hour exactly. We felt his absence in that moment, and we were ready. It was gentle, and all were calmed by the signs of spirit entering, knowing there would be no chains on their loved one. Unfettered, he would find the side of the Maker, but that was not the training for the battlefields. I had heard the accounts and knew my role, and I was ready. Then our warriors signaled the charge, and I was not ready. Breath was not stilled by the hour, and was not gentle, and I was sore afraid. This does sound very, very enticing indeed. But now, we have need of some skulls and some discussion, light-hearted and fanciful, with Iron Bull, leads me to believe that there may be a store of such skulls to be found back in the Storm Coasts. To that end, once more we go a-travelling.
Nothing to report, sir.
To the damp. Now is there... No, I don't suppose it would be quite so easy, would it? We'll have to search for these objects ourselves, then. And I recall seeing something of peculiar note in this location, so we'll have a look there first. I cannot speak as to whether it will be, in truth, the location we desire, but it's the first one that we're looking. I do need to get a number of resources for the Garden of Skyholes, but it is certainly not the season for Blood Lotus, I'm afraid, so that may take some time. Not my most graceful of climbs, but certain I've made this mount before, but nonetheless, let's find an alternative. Are we... Yes, that is the correct option. Yeah, perhaps we can use that as some kind of signal flare. It does seem to travel quite some distance, and it is very noticeable. There we go. And, no, that's not working at all, is it? Well, as I mark it, we do need to be close to the ground as is. So a light sprint, and we should be fine. But as the Mortalitasi hold it, knowledges of the dead are passed only by the dead, which is to say that they can only be passed by those who are already dead. Therefore, we must seek out skulls to entwine magics and whatever information may be hiding inside of their cavities. But in truth, I have been here. Curious. There is indeed. In truth, I have been intrigued by the notions of necromancy for quite some time. Oh, and of course they're there, but I'm sure you can handle that. Hardly even worth being worried about. Number of objects there, but none the ones we are seeking as yet. Perhaps I should be mildly more careful, but when seeking the dead, carelessness is the second cousin to discovery.
Should we look around?
Just remove you from my concern, shall imagine these valves will be too much difficulty, but we should. Well, this would tend to indicate that we're on the right way.
Falling back!
One still stands, but I do see a skull, of course. Come on then, gentlemen. A single aroused corpse should not surely provide such difficulty. Yet I'm surprised. There, handle that. It's just for good measure. The wall of fire is always a reliable asset. Yeah. One skull. We need now only locate the others. And I can't as well say that this will be easy, but find one in a crag. A little left. Hopefully the remainder will be somewhere nearby as well. What have we here? Curious. Well, I'm one for a drink before bed, I should say, so may as yet come in handy. Now, I am somewhat... That's a large one. I am somewhat skeptical as to the location of the potential third skull, but as I have yet to explore this region far to the north, I'm going to assume it is most likely in there. I believe there was a cave we noticed somewhere up there, so perhaps that should be its final resting place. Now, many have characterized necromantic arts as being unsavory, and perhaps to that degree I can find some agreement, but the fellows that call it to be immoral, perhaps even amoral entirely, those are the ones that I draw umbrage with. What immorality is there to be found with the use of meaningful resource? Certainly, those who left it lying around us are not going to be calling forth from their grave to tell us of how they would prefer their bodies to be used. Had they an opinion to begin with? Hold its attention and I'll hold it to the flame. Come on now. Oh, I am slightly concerned by enemies, which may well yet be. So it seems to be a door, and yet I have no notion of how to open it. We may wish to search further afield, I think. Perhaps slightly more north will find us some value. Place down there, let's try there. Still, the Dwarven ruins. If someone lived around here, then someone most assuredly died here as well. Although, as my journal would have it, apparently I've already received 2 of these skulls. Perhaps I've simply neglected it. Odd. In such case, I have only one remaining location to investigate, and I'm afraid it's a far deal north. William! There you are. Fine steed as ever. Now if we head to the beach and turn north, we should hopefully find the resting place of the Nevarran skull I can put to my uses. Hopefully. What is this? Gentlemen, again with the large, hefty chest that you just bring to... Sure. I can't say it'll be particularly useful, but I appreciate your endeavors nonetheless. Right. To the north. Oh, this bodes ill indeed. Terribly, terribly ill indeed. Tremendously ill. But if ever there was somebody to handle a couple of the giant arachnids kind, well, I have just the tool for the trade. I'm familiar with Deep Stalker.
The only thing scaring nobles more than the baddies is being asked to help us. Typical, right? Wet and running the first sign of trouble.
I knew a duke who actually had a servant follow him to war with corks in case his bowels loosened. Called him his retainer.
Well, I might have known that duke, actually. One extensive search later, we have our endeavor. I'll be touching my blood today. Thank you for the assistance, Cole. As long as we're visiting. Are we all done yet? Lend a hand, I'm certain we'll need it. Once more, fire returns to see our enemies safely back to the ground. Well, that's a sight I do not need right now. One moment, I'll help you out there. There we are. Suggest we get rid of the undead first. And now we may deal with the livestock. There. Right. Stone tree. I'm sure we'll find many other landmarks, but one skull at last. So now we need only craft this device. I believe our resident quartermaster might have access to a requisition table.
Stefan finally died. It was a blessing, really. He's been in so
The
much
light catches
pain
you in such
since
a
Haven.
gorgeous
Out of his
fashion.
mind in the end. He smiled.
Ah, here we are.
Smelled his mother's turnip stew. Slipped
It's not much to look at, but it should work quite well. The Mortalitasi do not take on apprentices to teach their craft, at least until after they have passed on. A true Necromancer creates a raft that will house the soul of another who is already dead. They must ensure it is respectful and that it pulses with power enough to demonstrate their serious intention. That will draw Mortalitasi to teach them the final arts, whispered from the mouth of a polished skull. And there we have it.
Consider it done.
I'm sure Anaxi will be rather pleased with this effort. How are you today, Bull?
So, that Tevinter guy sent you into the future?
More or less. But not to worry, I'm sure I can keep you safe from it. You are certainly quite capable, but magic is a whole other realm of experience.
If you're worried about magic, I can protect you.
My blade pretty much protects me.
Perhaps I can do things your blade can't.
I don't know. It has blood grooves. Well, technically it's the fuller, but blood grooves sound so much more violent.
You do entertain me. Although I probably need to change my... bedposts before I... An access. I have something to show you.
The recipe is complete. The ceremony ended. You know our way. Now you must choose to accept this role. To shepherd and to condemn.
Oh, I'll gladly accept this title.
I am ready to commit to this. To train in necromancy.
Then you honor me as well. You have begun a path that goes well beyond where others must stop. You will find, Inquisitor, that life is not so final as some might think. Welcome to our way.
Well, I think this is going to be an interesting learning experience, but as it happens,
I'll ask around again tomorrow.
before I can delve too terribly deeper into it, we must make a visit to Val Royo, where there is an enchantress waiting for us.